Well, I think with our first album, yes. now we have a bar, you know? Yeah. And so the challenge for the next one is going to be, how do we, take it to the next level? It's music that makes you think, right? Because a lot of the songs that you hear today, you hear it and it goes in one ear and your brain does a little dance and you're like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then you forget about it.
What is something you would like to see change within music?
Better writing. If all your content doesn't mean anything, or it's so deeply guised in metaphor, it just doesn't matter anymore.
I think the most common reaction we've gotten is, wow, you guys are actually really good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Light the World podcast. And I'm your host, LT World. On this channel, what we do is we take a look at issues and cultural topics like feminism or critical race theory, and we take a look at the history of these topics, look at them from both sides, what do people say about it, and which arguments make the most sense. And then we also do interviews on this channel where we talk to some people who are in the entertainment industry, people who are involved in culture, people who have interesting background stories, and just get to know more about the culture we live in and the people in it. And today on this episode, that's exactly what we're doing. We are interviewing a band called The Governors. They were a fun band to interview with. They were really cool guys, and I was just really excited to get to talk to them, and you'll learn more about them coming up here. If you want to stay in contact or want to stay up to date with this podcast, please subscribe, follow along on whatever podcast platform you're listening to, or check out the YouTube channel. And also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and check out my website at ltworld.info for more information. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview. I'm glad to finally make this work. I was excited to talk to you guys. I know Vanya is working with you, so that's how I obviously got a hold of you here. But yeah, so tell me more. Let's just get started off by names and kind of introducing yourselves.
Sure. We'll start with Jacob, work our way around.
All right, I'm Jacob. I'm one of the drummers for the Governors. I came along about a year ago that Lem is overseas, so I started playing a couple shows and now part of the group. But yeah.
I'm Michael. I'm the lead singer.
I'm Patrick. I play piano.
Okay.
So I can go. I'm AJ. I'm a guitarist for the group.
I'm Carl. I play bass.
Awesome. So let's just jump into it then. I would just like to get a general introduction of what your band, what you guys stand for, kind of how it got started. Just kind of give me the introduction to who you guys are.
I'll start this off. So the Governors, we classify ourselves as an eclectic rock band, which essentially translates roughly to we do whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody can tell us what to do. Exactly. All of our different members come from really different musical backgrounds. Carl is primarily in jazz and classical. Patrick is the biggest Coldplay buff you'll ever meet. Jacob is a worship drummer. It's where he started out. Lem is a big R&B drummer. And then AJ kind of classifies himself as Weezer 2.0. And then our other guitarist, Daniel, is a classical guitarist. So we come from a really wide range of musical background. And we kind of like to take inspiration from the different places that we've come from and put it into one sound, which can be a little different from song to song. So you'll hear influences from all different genres of music, and so we classify it as eclectic rock.
Okay. How did you guys meet then, since it seemed like so different in your style?
I met this guy in high school. So we went to high school together for 4 years, and then we were roommates in college. And then we met some of the rest of us through housing at Boise State.
Yeah.
Is that college?
Yeah, Boise State University in
Mhm.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boise. Yeah. Yep.
So you guys are you from Washington then, or are you from Idaho then?
Good question. Some of us are from Washington. Some of us live in Washington, and others of us are from Idaho and live in Idaho. So Patrick and Daniel, who is not here, and we all grew up in Washington. Patrick now lives here in Idaho. I still live in Washington. So I lived here in Idaho for a few years and then moved back. And then Daniel actually has never lived in Idaho. He moved out to South Carolina and has been remote with the band since we started.
Okay.
And then funny enough, we met AJ in college in Boise, but he grew up about 20 minutes away from us in Washington.
Yeah.
And then Carl and Jacob are from here in Idaho, and our other drummer Lem is from Indonesia.
Wow.
He was he was here in the U.S.
International
for
student.
for
At
school.
Boise State. So a lot of us really came together in college. We were playing some music. It's funny, different avenues, different paths that we'd cross each other, and then we wound up seeing each other a lot and talking about music a lot. And these guys had dreamed up starting a band someday, and everything just kind of aligned. And we're like, "What the heck? Let's give it a go." So here we are, a couple of years later, still going at it.
So what year did you guys like officially have a band then?
It was the very end of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it just, I guess, when did you release your first like album then?
2021, end of 2021.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2020. We started releasing music in 2020.
Yes.
And the full album
Yes.
dropped.
Beginning of 2021.
Full album dropped March of 2021.
Okay. And that was the Power to the People? Is that
That's
the
correct.
album?
The only album we've ever done.
The only album so far. I was looking at your website a little bit and I was like, it looked like you got one full album so far.
Yeah.
Are you working on any other projects right now? Is there anything in the works?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
2.
Album 2 is the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing this weekend. We actually
Just got back from the studio, setting up for our session tomorrow. So new music coming soon.
Oh, okay. I like it. So you already got some songs prepared and stuff, but just flushing it out.
Yeah, exactly right. And then we're hopefully when Vanya decides to start production on his next film, we'll be doing the soundtrack for that in next year.
Yeah. Nice. So I would like to know how do you guys come up with songs? What inspires you to write your songs and how do you come up with them?
Yeah, okay, so funny story. As a band, we're kind of a somewhat of a song factory. Like you always would think that, it's difficult to write songs, and it is, and it's easier to just record them and produce them, but we're kind of the opposite. We got a pile of literally 30 songs that are written and just need to be produced and recorded. So between all of us, definitely with the different musical backgrounds, different life experiences, tons of different inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Coldplay now with Patrick, and he's listening to funk music because of me, right? So we got this exchanges, and we hear new stuff from one another or just new music, and so all over the place. I think lyrically, a lot from life.
Yeah.
Our last album was a bit of a coming of age, college young guys trying to figure out the world, and I think lately we've been talking last night, and it's now we're in the world, still trying to figure it out. But so I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in on that one.
I think you.
Yeah,
That's
crushes it. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice work.
Is there any one of you who writes more songs than other people, or do you kind of all just equally share that burden?
I write 0 songs. I write 0 songs.
The joke is that I am worth nothing to the world without a broken heart. So do with that information as you will. But I process life and heartbreak and all of it just through songwriting and through telling stories. So that's it's a good outlet, and I have these guys to kind of prop me up and help me bring some of that to fruition. But lately we've actually kind of taken a side road. from what we've usually done, because I wrote a lot of the music for our first album, and then for this next one that we're working on, everyone's bringing a song in. So
Okay.
Carl has written several, actually. The one that we're working on tomorrow in the studio is one that Carl started. Patrick has got a current album that he's working on in a solo capacity. And then AJ is going to be singing a solo. Our drummer, Lem in Indonesia, he's got a couple of songs that we're going to try and put onto this next album. So we're taking a step away from what we've done before and trying to, do something a little different this time.
Okay. And when you're working on this new album, eventually you plan on releasing it. Are you going to be doing any shows? Are you going to be doing any tours or anything like that?
We love performing. It's one of our favorite parts of being in a band. Unfortunately, the last couple of years have been a little bit difficult for, performing live. And performing live is logistically and financially difficult.
Yeah.
So we'll take any opportunity we can get to perform. We were just talking today about how we would like to do more live public performances. The challenge is being able to, coordinate across states, across the distance that we've all got, and being able to, front the money to rent a venue and to get the equipment that we need to do it. So the plan is, yes, to perform more. We don't have any set tour dates or anything like that.
Okay. And how, speaking about COVID, how was it trying to maintain a band and maintain that sort of unity during a pandemic? How did that look?
We kind of had a leg up on a lot of groups in the sense of we had already been working with one of our members remotely for the first several months before COVID was even a thing, right? Because we had originally 5 members here in town, and then our guitarist, Daniel, was in South Carolina. So we were working remotely with him. So when things kind of, went south, as they say, we kind of already had an idea of how to coordinate with being in different places. The challenge for us really was finding places to get out and perform. That was the biggest challenge because, nobody wanted to be out in public. It really wasn't safe. There weren't any venues that were offering anything other than, we did a live stream concert at one point in October of 2020 because that's what was available.
Yeah.
So, it came with challenges. I felt like we were fortunate enough to kind of be a little bit ahead of the curve. And as different members have moved out into different places, we've found ways to collaborate online. We put all of our demo tracks together in an online platform that lets us all collaborate together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so speaking of projects then and all that, how did you come in contact with Vanya? Because I'm really curious about how that connection was made. Since Vanya, I'm friends with him, he lives here in PA. You guys obviously don't live in PA. You're far from here. So how was that made for this movie that he's gonna be making?
Yeah, I'm curious about this too.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Okay, so
Yeah.
High school.
have you seen our album cover?
Yeah, I did. I can pull it up
Okay,
right
so
now.
The album cover was actually designed by Vanya's cousin Evelina,
Okay.
who we went to high school with in Washington.
Okay.
So that's the connection is that Evelina did, is a longtime friend of Patrick and Daniel and myself. And so when she was out living in Pennsylvania for a time, this was the same time that we were actively producing and releasing music. And so she was working on the graphic design stuff for us while she was living there with Vanya and with Tima. And so they got exposed to our music while she was there. And he decided, well, hey, I want to have these guys do the soundtrack for our next movie. So that's, small world.
Yeah.
Okay. I was always kind of curious about that because when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, I'm doing these guys called the Governors out in Washington doing music for me. I was like, wow, that I don't know how that connection was made, but that's very interesting. So what is the long-term vision then for your band? Now that you started a couple years ago, you produced an album, you're trying to produce another one, you're working with Vanya here, you're working on a movie. What's the vision? What's the long-term goal for the band?
somebody else take this one.
You got something, Patrick? Or-
Yeah. Sorry, I'm losing my voice,
Yeah.
so if it sounds crummy, I apologize. But I think that it was summed up well when we started in the song Power to the People. It says, worst case scenario, we have a good time. It's our band is founded on this fundamental idea of having fun, enjoying the work that we're doing together. We're a hobby group right now. We all have different jobs and different focuses in life, and this is our way of using our musical talents and in some form in an outlet that we all enjoy. So I'd say that the goal and the vision is having fun, making music together, and then sharing with other people. It's kind of the main current that drives us.
Okay.
We
And
don't really like each other, so that's the big thing. Is that the goal when we pulled this group together was to put together a good team first and good musicians second. You know, the having good musicians in a band is important, but having good team members is more important. And we all knew plenty of really talented musicians when we were getting this started, but we all decided that we wanted to work together because we all really got along really well. We all share a love of making music. And despite, the differences in backgrounds from, where we were all trained in our different crafts, we're really, 2 years in, we're all, I'd say, really thankful to be working with the group of people that we are with.
Mm-hmm. And I can definitely, I listened to your album and stuff before this interview, and I could tell there's a lot of personality in it. I could see the different styles coming together. So it was just very, very interesting. And I liked how you brought up the line, because I was actually going to ask a question about that. Hey, worst case scenario, we're just going to have some fun. I think or have a good time. I thought that line was very interesting. And I was going to ask you where that line came from, because what inspired that line?
This is kind of funny. So okay, we're at Boise State on campus one night, and Michael asked me, "Hey AJ, let's talk, let's hang out. I got a kind of a question for you." Okay, whatever. And it's like, so we're starting this band. I want you to be part of it. And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, and he's telling me, "Oh, we got this idea and this plan, and I got these songs written. And I think this would be good." And I just kind of thought at the time, like, "Hey, you know what? Worst case scenario, what the heck? We have a good time. Like, this will be so fun." And he was talking, I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but hey, this will be fun. Let's give it a go and we'll see what happens. And then next week, Michael comes back, or a couple weeks later, maybe a month later. It's like, dude, I got the song. Like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, well, what you said the other day? No, what do you? It's like, the worst case scenario, have a good time. I wrote a whole song about it. I'm like, what? And he's singing me Power to the People, and like explaining the vision, like, hey, we're putting our music out there, power to the people. They get to decide if they like it or they don't. And this is kind of our band song, it's a little bit of a song for us, kind of declaring our vision a bit, but it was kind of funny how it all came together. So
yeah, I just really enjoyed that line, because when I heard it, I was like, that seems like a line that has a story to it. So I thought it was very interesting.
That's good.
Now, with those, with that personality coming through the music and with it very interesting, that's what stuck out to me. First of all, when I listened to it, I thought that's what really set you apart from other bands. But what do you think sets you apart the most from other bands or other musicians in general?
All right, who's gonna go for it?
I'll say one thought I had. I think you listen to a lot of music now, and with Spotify and everything, music's always playing kind of in the background. It's kind of this vibe, mood setting sort of thing. And our thing is we wanted to write music where you'd have to sit down and really listen to it to enjoy it and hear the story and have the themes that we've emphasized kind of come through. I think that's one thing that's really important to us. I know there's lots of other bands that do that, I guess. I don't think it's necessarily unique, but it's definitely more unique, I think.
I'd say that it's a lot of intentional writing combined with some very, very intentional part writing as far as instruments go. There's a lot of thought being put into how are we not walking over each other? And even so, our first album, I'd say that we were just coming to a realization that that's something that was important to us. So in the second one, we've taken all the things that we've learned from the first album, and we're finding that arranging and writing are really important to us, and actually being very intentional about why we're playing what we're playing and why we're writing what we're writing, and kind of building a story off of that. So I think, like AJ said, while there are other bands that do that, I think it's rare form in this age for that to be something that's a focus.
And who do you think? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'd say, it's music that makes you think. I would classify our music as successful if somebody listens to it and they walk away thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of the songs that you hear today, you hear it and it goes in one ear and your brain does a little dance and you're like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then you forget about it. Right? And you go back to it and listen to it again, and you open that box and you listen to the song, your brain does a little dance, and then you forget about it again. And I think with the music that we're writing and producing, we don't want to have that effect. We want people to walk away and feel like the stories that we're telling and the lyrical content of our work is engaging with them to an intellectual level.
And what type of listener then do you think would appreciate your music the most, since you described it the way you did?
People who like to think. People who like music. People who like music and like to think.
I think not the casual listener, the headphones on, sitting on the couch, listening to music for the sake of listening to music, and not listening to music for the sake of soundtracking something else that you're doing. So it's that sitting down and just thinking and listening and processing music. There's a lot of people that do that. And I've learned a lot from people that do that. And so I think what we do is kind of a respectful homage to that, that kind of listener.
So I'm assuming also that you guys all are inspired then also by other artists and bands, even though you're unique in your own way, you write your own music, you do all that. But do you have any people you look up to, or anybody who inspires you to keep doing what you're doing?
A lot.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think we individually all have our own musical inspirations. And then as a band, we're starting to maybe develop some like we said earlier, Patrick loves Coldplay, right? I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, but like we got one song that's like
throw myself under that bus.
He's got a great piano.
It's a great
line.
bus.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good bus.
Good bus to be under.
So there's some songs. I think maybe that's one other thing that is, I hope maybe somewhat unique, is like it's not really about it's really about serving the song and elevating it to what the song needs. So if that means it needs guitar, if that means it needs guitar, or it needs, so this kind of anthem rock piano line, that fits in the Coldplay kind of sphere. So what did Coldplay do for a guitar? Oh, maybe something like this, or those kind of tones, things like that. So absolutely, we got some Queen-esque stuff in the pipeline. Lem's got some. Lake Street Dive. That's another one lately. Lem's got some great stuff. I would say is pretty in line with that.
Got to throw Wolfpack in there.
Wolfpack.
Ben
Folds.
Yeah. So we're a bit all over the place, honestly.
Our studio engineer, the first time he heard us play, he says, "All right, here's what I think. I think it's Ben Folds has a party on Frank Zappa's grave, playing the Hamilton soundtrack."
I find Hamilton soundtrack kind of funny, because Hamilton is just in my head, it's rap. That's rap lyrics. But when I listen to your music, I didn't really hear much rap lyrics. So I'm kind of curious where the Hamilton's coming in. But
I'm more like the theatrical.
It's theatrical. It's my background is in musical theater.
Okay.
And so naturally, just a lot of our stuff tends to end up being rather production oriented, storytelling and very, very stagey.
Okay.
let's just say Michael likes to call our songs numbers. Like, what's that? We call them tracks or songs. This is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys produce your do you like are you like what's that called, in like indie, or are you more actually like you're going down like the traditional route of producing music? How do you actually produce it and put it out there?
I'd say we're probably more traditional and have been, but it looks like we're going in the way of being more independent, especially with people like being spread out everywhere. It's like pretty tough to get everyone in one spot to go record. So I'd say we're definitely headed towards more like being able to enable ourselves to record and work together from a distance, since that'll be the most cost effective and time productive. But yeah, that's at least what I'd say from after today.
Totally.
Yeah. We're we're not managed under a record label or anything. If you know of any that would like to, take it on, let us know.
I'll contact everyone I know.
Yeah.
That is the one nice thing about like modern day with music, is that it's so easy to get music out there, but it's so hard to get people to listen because there's so much of it.
Yeah,
it's true.
So many people getting music out there because it's so easy.
Have you found yourself enjoying the other parts of what you do? Like outside of music, obviously you have to like work with people, you have to try to get your name out there, stuff like that. Do you enjoy the business side or the other side of music?
Well, we're not very good at the other side of it. We have in the last year, kind of tried to get a little bit better about it. Patrick actually just filed taxes for the band. He did a really good job. We have to pay the government some money, but it's better than getting audited and going to jail. But that's actually a conversation that we've been having recently. Is all right, we're putting all this effort into making music. Now, how do we sell it? How do we get it out to people? How do we turn listeners into fans and be able to produce more music? Because we really like getting to do what we do. It would be a lot easier if we had a larger following. And I think that's probably the experience of most bands our size, that we really enjoy getting to make music. It is at this point in our lives a very expensive hobby. We don't see a really high return on investment. Our biggest money makers is live performance. And that usually covers the cost of live performance and sometimes a little bit extra to get us where we're going next. So it's a challenge, and it's one that we're still learning how to figure out. We like I said, we're not very good at it. But we're getting there. We're all taking on different responsibilities, kind of delegating out those different tasks of, who's going to run social media, who's going to contact record label A&R, who's going to, start booking venues for shows. Those are all jobs that we've kind of had to delegate out to members of the group based on their skill set. And really that's what it comes down to, is we're all good at different things. And so we're trying to figure out how to utilize that best for our own goal.
Yeah. And has starting this band and trying to, like, obviously everyone has their part, everyone does their work, has this impacted how you guys are friends or how you interact, or has it remained basically the same even since the band started?
I think that's positively
better.
Yeah. I'd say very much deepened.
Yeah.
We all like each other a lot more than we did before. Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of maybe something else special I'd say. It's something I'm very grateful for is like we're number one friends first and bandmates second. And so it's really special to be able to make music with some of your best friends, It's really quite special.
And were any of you in bands before this, or have any other experiences with other bands at all? Or is this like the first for everyone?
The first like traditional band for all of us, but not the first musical group we've all been a part of.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been in bands before.
I've been in
one.
He's been in bands.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you guys balance, this is like as you said, an expensive hobby. How do you balance this expensive hobby with work and life and other things that you do? How do you guys
Short answer, I don't balance it. It's just boom.
Yeah. Well, Jacob's on track to be a professional audio engineer by the time he's 18.
Hopefully.
this kind of is work for him. Patrick works for Amazon. Carl is a teacher. AJ works for a tech company, and I work in marketing for a construction company. And the answer to your question is we have been really, really fortunate to have some generous people in our lives who have supported us through this dream of ours. We all, never thought, a year and a half in, we'd be releasing an album. But we did. And it's because we crowdfunded it, and we had a lot of really kind, generous people who were willing to support this dream and help us bring it to fruition. So, and that's one of the conversations, again, that we've been having lately is how do we honor that? How do we take that, the faith that these people have put in us and bear more fruit from it? How do we take that and develop it further? And so we're still learning what it's going to take, to get to this next album. But we're not, fingers crossed, going to go back and crowdfund for it again. We've done that once, and it was wonderful, and we're so grateful that there were people that were willing to do that. But now I think we've come to the point where it's time for the music to prove itself. Yeah. It's time for the group to rise to the occasion and start being self-sufficient to a degree.
Sounds like your friends and family then are like your number one fans, and you sounds like you have a lot of support.
And even if we're the lucky ones, they always will be.
Yeah. I'm really glad to hear that, though, because sometimes bands or people who go into these industries, they have a hard time finding support even among their peers. But sounds like you guys have like a whole a good community there. And how has it been building that community? Have you had good interactions with people who are like, hey, I listen to your stuff, or how's that been? Do you have much of that yet?
I think the most common reaction we've gotten is, wow, you guys are actually really good.
Which isn't the compliment they think it is.
But it's not a compliment.
It's not a compliment.
It's actually a better compliment because
we surpass our expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if their expectations were low.
But it's genuine and honest. It's not like, oh yeah, you guys are pretty good, I'll never listen to that again. It's, dude, I actually love this. It's fun, and everyone responds to it differently. One buddy of mine is like, yeah, it gets better. It's my workout playlist. It gets me psyched, and people, like Vanya is like, oh, this has got to be in the theater, man. I just see it on the screen. It's so cinematic, and there's different responses to it, and it's all really encouraging to hear.
I think one of the more interesting aspects of that is that genuinely, I've talked to people who every song on our album, it's one of their favorite songs, right? So there's not one song that stands out to everybody. It's each one of them stands out to a different person for a different reason.
Yeah.
Carl's students actually have a cardboard cutout of him in the school.
It's in the library.
Nice. So
my favorite fan reactions is that there's a relative of one of ours where their child falls asleep to dream. Like if it plays, they'll just get knocked out. And I just think it's a silly thing, but it's just cute that there's all these different kinds of reactions and things that can happen with different songs. And
yeah, and kind of what with Carl said, everybody has a piece that they grab onto. Something I've learned kind of in my own musical experiences, you can't make everyone happy, but you can make everyone mad. So if you just kind of what this group is about, just having fun and doing what we like, and we put it out, it can't go wrong for us, so people love it, then that's great. If they don't love it, it's not as great, but it's still fun. Yeah.
So obviously encouragement motivates you guys to keep going, you're making a difference. But do you find motivation also in people having those low expectations? I mean, we can actually surpass them. Does that also motivate you in a way?
Well, I think with our first album, yes. Now we have a bar, and so the challenge for the next one is going to be, how do we, take it to the next level? I would think we would all agree that a success for us with the next album would be to look back and say that we took the music and we elevated it. Right, that we did not stay static, that we learned from our mistakes from the first one, that we can still appreciate the first one for what it is and for the work that we put into it, but that we take that and the next one is even better.
Yeah. And then you said you have like 30 songs on Backlog. So do you look at some of those songs that you've written in the past and do you edit them before you produce them, or is some of those going to be coming out down the road? Like, how do you look back on the songs you already written you didn't release yet? What do you think about those?
Okay, one thought that's interesting here is like, and I think this is maybe something that is another interesting thing about us. We really like having an album be a holistic story and fit as an entire unit. So some songs, it's been like, wow, this is a great song, but I really don't think it fits in this grouping of songs we already have going. So that's definitely one motivator. And then timing. Sometimes, like, I mean, one song I was working on, like, I had it laying around for like a year. And then finally, like, a couple little things click and Michael and I worked on some lyrics and like, oh, hey, this is what it's finally become what it needed to be, you know? So songs kind of mature and develop at their own pace.
Yeah. And do you sometimes, like, you talk about timing being an important aspect to it. Do you sometimes look at a song and like, oh, what's going on in the world right now? This would be a perfect song for this moment of life to inspire people.
Yes. No further comments on that.
I can only imagine also, like, going back to the pandemic, like there's probably plenty of songs you guys wrote over that time period to encourage people or to help people out. And I think even like listening to The Power of the People, I could get a lot of sense of like encouragement, like just like there's a lot of songs about like keep going or keep pushing or talking about life. And did, like, I guess just talking about the pandemic, did that actually inspire some songs to come out from you guys at all?
Well, we released we did a kind of a special video project towards the start of COVID with It Gets Better, just to, you know, bring a positive message to a lot of people that I think needed to hear it, that better times are ahead, right?
Yeah.
But we've also had some other projects that have been a little more pointed in terms of just kind of the nature of what an event like that can do to people.
Yeah.
You have something to say?
Well, I'd say, like we said earlier, like music is kind of a big part of how we process life. So
yeah,
some of it's written for, I would say some of our songs are written for others and some are very much written for us. And we're hoping others resonate with it, you know?
Okay.
I think like Carl and I don't know, we never finished it actually, but Carl and I had it's close, a very, very COVID oriented song and just how we were both feeling. Like it's kind of mundane. Every day's the same. You don't go anywhere. You're stuck in your house kind of song. So yeah, there's definitely some of that.
Does it, so as like, I was never musically talented, so I never was able to experience this, but do you guys ever feel when you write a song that's very personal, you really feel like you're putting yourself out there, does it feel weird to release that for a bunch of people to listen to, or does that just seem natural?
The first time, yes. The first time. So the backstory is about 3 years ago. I wrote and released a song called The Funny Man Smile. It's about Robin Williams.
Okay.
And I released that just as a solo project in the summer of 2019. And I did it because I had played the song for some friends and they said, you know, you should share that with people. You should release it. And so I thought, well, you know, if people want to hear it, I'll put it out there. And so I did all this research on how to, you know, get songs online and like onto Spotify and all those platforms, and actually recorded the song in a high school band room.
Wow.
And put it out. And it was very strange. It's still, that one is a little bit strange to me. Because you do all this work. It's a labor of love, but you don't know if it's going to mean the same thing to other people that it does to you. And so it's a very personal thing that you're putting out into the world. And I did that once, and I decided I don't want to do that by myself anymore. And that was kind of the inception of, that was kind of where this project started, where the governor started, was let's get a group together and make music together, because it's way less fun doing it alone.
Yeah. And then did you ever have an experience where you wrote a song like that and someone did resonate with it, or you got feedback that people were resonating with it?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say we've gotten, it's not the quantity that I think matters so much to us, so much as it is the quality. If the music that we write deeply touches a few people, that's way more valuable to us than if the music we write is a lot of fun to a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. So you're not going to write any like top 40 Billboard hits type
Oh,
style
we'd love
music?
to. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain.
We'll see if we can do both.
We would be kind of changing the face of the Billboard if that was happening. But
That was kind of what I was going towards a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess speaking about that, what is like, this is more towards the music industry as a general whole.
Yeah.
What is something you would like to see changed within music, within the music
better
industry?
writing,
Yeah.
better writing.
Hmm.
The songs have to mean something. They don't have to mean something. We have songs that don't mean anything. But if all your content doesn't mean anything, or it's so deeply guised in metaphor that you've just extrapolated so that anyone can make any meaning out of it, it just doesn't matter anymore. It's a great vibe. You put it in a playlist, it feels good, but it doesn't change your thoughts. It doesn't change your perspective or make you think about anything. So I think that's my personal.
I'd say too, like, the reason we're all here and still doing music is because we've been inspired by past music and past groups. So like, there's a lot that we love and appreciate about music and the art that's out there. I think one thing that's been interesting for us to battle against is like the financial aspect of it. Like, I mean, if I could magically change anything, be like, music would be free to make, and there's some great online tools but so the industry part of the music industry is hard, and I get it has to exist, and it actually, honestly, it enables like our shows. We've been able to, that's been a financial provider for us that enables us to go record an album. So it's a good thing, but it's challenging, I would say, at times to navigate.
Yeah. And like going back to that whole better writing thing, why do you think the writing isn't as good as it should be within most, like, a lot of popular music, I guess you could say?
There's a song that I think of that I think illustrates the reason why very well. It's not a family friendly or remotely appropriate song, but it's Repeat Stuff by Bo Burnham. And basically the whole message of the song is that if you want to do well in music, you have to write songs that'll get stuck in people's head, so that people will just so you have brand recognition, right? And so you just repeat stuff. Yeah. But I think, that's really where it comes from, is that there's a degree of shallowness, I would say, in popular music that comes as a result of fitting the formula. There is very much a formulaic way to write a Billboard top song. Yeah.
And are you guys hopeful that you can change that type of dynamic through your band?
I mean, it's fun to dream. It's fun to dream. I don't think any of us are going into it with the goal of changing the industry or, writing a Billboard top song or, selling out Madison Square Garden, though that would be awesome. I think we're here because we're a bunch of friends that like making music.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to share that music with other people.
Yeah. I like it. Well, that's most of the questions I had. And I really like you guys. You have a lot of good personality. You got a good thing going here. I like the dynamic and everything. If people wanted to learn more about you, or they want to follow get a hold of your music and everything like that, where can people find more about you and learn more about you?
We are on all of the music streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, rest in peace, Google Music, but that's now YouTube Music. You can find us on there. You can order CDs if you still use CDs from our website, www.thegovernorsband.com. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, maybe a TikTok.
Maybe a TikTok in the future. You know, we're all not of the TikTok generation, I don't think, except for Jacob. Yeah, we're all not with the cool kids anymore.
I see.
Yeah, I'd say if you want to like see what's going on, like real time, Instagram would probably be the best way to see that. See when we're working on projects, rehearsing. So, yeah, I say that
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your time. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you, getting to know you guys better. And I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Maybe
guys.
we'll come out to Pennsylvania someday.
Yeah, come out whenever, and I'll still be here.
Yeah. Great. All right. Take care.
All right, see ya. And so that was the Governors. They were really fun to talk to. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to them. They were very nice guys. And if you want to check out their music, I'll have links in the description below that you can check out. You can find them on Spotify and other music. You can find them on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, stuff like that. So I'll have links in the description below that you can check out. If you want to check out my stuff, I'll also have links in the description below. You can check me out, obviously, on this podcast, whatever you're listening to it on. You can subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, or check out l2world.info for more information about me. Now, friends, please go out there and light the world.